The French newspaper Le Monde quoting anonymous sources at the African Union headquarters as claiming that the Chinese had planted listening devices in desks and in the walls.
That is enough.
It's preposterous. It's so absurd.
Lack of evidence that was provided. We don't have any top secrets anywhere.
This is strange. Do you know that?
It's January 2017 at the headquarters of the African Union here in Ethiopia. An IT engineer is looking at the servers in this building, and something seems off. The engineer notices that often in the middle of the night, these servers are connecting to some server in Shanghai and uploading emails and audio files.
For 5 straight years, every night, between midnight and 2 a.m., the African Union headquarters computer servers in Addis Ababa were secretly transferring massive data files to a server located in Shanghai, China.
The African Union headquarters was built in 2012, but it was not paid for by any African nation.
The impressive new headquarters of the African Union, entirely funded by the Chinese government.
This building was a $200 million gift from the Chinese government. It was designed and built by Chinese firms with Chinese money. And yes, the servers were installed by Chinese engineers, who, it appears, left an intentional backdoor into the servers so that they were easily accessible.
Oh, you are shocked. Relax. Wait a minute. This isn't a movie. This is something that happened real life in real time. This is not a conspiracy theory. This was the conclusion of an investigation by the Financial Times, Le Monde, and multiple cybersecurity analysts. And after the story broke, the African Union immediately replaced their servers, changed their internal systems, and redesigned their cybersecurity protocols.
The African Union IT team eventually removed these Chinese servers and installed new ones. The Chinese government literally offered to install them for them, but they declined. The local IT people also swept the building, and they found microphones embedded in the furniture and in the walls. The whole building was bugged and had been feeding audio and internal emails to China for like 5 years since the building was built. China building a headquarters for the African Union and then spying on it is a pretty good symbol of what China is up to in Africa.
So at this very moment, I want to ask this question. If a building donated by China, built by Chinese engineers, installed with Chinese servers was allegedly sending data back to China, what does that say about China's global digital influence, Chinese technology dependency in Africa, apps that billions of people use daily, and the fact that China itself does not even allow TikTok inside its borders but gives it to the entire world? If China does not use the same TikTok as the world uses, what does that mean? What does China know that the rest of the world doesn't? Stay with me, don't move, don't change the channel. This is going to be one of the most revealing technology geopolitical breakdowns you have ever heard on other channels and even on this particular channel. Hold on and please listen to this. This video is not with an intention to attack a personality or a group of people. It is for the purpose of education and criticizing an idea and an opinion, as this video is an analytical part of historical and geopolitical discussion. We seek to understand global power relations, not to create division. This is Inside Focus, and if this is the first time you're coming across my channel, don't hesitate to hit that subscribe button, then like the video, share the video. Feel free to go to the comment section and let us know what you think about this very conversation. Also, follow us on all other social media networks, all at Inside Studios Network. Welcome to Inside Focus. Let me shock you. In 2018, Le Monde Afrique published a bombshell investigation. The African Union servers were transmitting data to Shanghai every night from 2012 until 2017. That is 5 years straight. How much data must have been sent within those 5 years? that means a lot of data and a lot of secrets revealed to Chinese about Africans. The building's entire digital infrastructure, servers, wiring, encrypted system was installed by the Chinese construction company that built the AU headquarters. Hidden microphones were allegedly found in the walls and desks.
The African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, that the Chinese built in the year 2012. The French newspaper Le Monde quoted anonymous sources at the African Union headquarters as claiming the following: that the Chinese had planted listening devices in desks and in the walls of the building. The devices picked up information of every kind from African officials. This information was then relayed to Shanghai late at night when the building was shut. This had been going on for the last 5 years. Now, Le Monde quoted the officials as saying the microphones were discovered during a routine sweep. The devices were removed and the servers also changed. The report made headlines the day before the African Union summit opened on Monday, a point which the Chinese claim was significant.
And when this came out and the world got to know it, China strongly denied it. They said nothing of a sort has happened.
The timing of the article was very interesting. It was published just one day before the summit. So I think that the story was intended for the African countries here and to attract the attention. But I think that they will not succeed. It's sensational. It is a total preposterous. It's so absurd. I think that Le Monde is regarded as a very serious French newspaper. That is why I'm so surprised that such kind of report was published by the newspaper, and I found it's very difficult to understand. The African Union Conventional Center, Conference Center, was built by China at the request of the African Union, and actually it was a very important measure taken by China to support the African Union. You know, the African Union has now played an increasingly important role in integration, in peace and security, social and development, economic affairs, you know. So we want to provide more support to the African Union.
And the AU, on the other hand, diplomatically downplayed it.
I was in charge, responsible for finance and administration. And therefore, obviously, this is a portfolio that was very close to me. And I worked very closely with the government of Ethiopia, with China, in very close consultations to see that project completed. Now, let me tell you 2-3 things which make me really wonder why anybody would make this allegation. That is a facility that is normally used by heads of state and government. And anyone with any common sense will know that any facility that is used by heads of state and government will go under security check. I don't have to say this. The second one, we have had 2-3 administrations. And all these administrations, when they come in, they know the protocols that normally what happens. And so I would be surprised. Of course, I know spies takes place all over the world. And the tools that could be used, these days, even when as we are talking today, somebody can listen to a conversation. So the third one, and I've asked this question before, the African Union conversations, we don't have any top secrets anywhere. Whatever is discussed, we bring it out in the open, in the form of resolutions, and we inform the world. So I found it both repugnant and really, and as I said, for a newspaper of that repute, and the manner in which it went about to do it, the timing.
Now, Rwanda's President Paul Kagame said, and I quote, "I don't think there is anything done here that we would not like people to know. I don't think spying is the specialty of the Chinese. We have spies all over the place in this world, but I will not have been worried about being spied on in this building, unquote. But the Rwandan president wished that rather than China, Africans should build their own buildings. In other words, this embarrassment may have been avoided if the Chinese had not paid the $12 billion cost and built the African Union headquarters using predominantly Chinese labor.
But immediately after the report, what happened would shock you. The AU replaced its servers with undisclosed equipment. Cybersecurity was strengthened. New data encryption was introduced. Africa diplomats publicly acknowledged serious concerns. Now, note this, whether true or false, whether fully true or partially exaggerated, one question remains. If a continental headquarters can be compromised, what about the smartphones you are using? What about the apps we are using? And what about the devices 1.4 billion Africans use every day? And this takes us into the heart of the digital world. At this point, let's be logical a little bit. Every powerful nation spies, whether you like it or not. That is true. The US spied on Angela Merkel's phone. Russia runs cyber espionage across Europe. China runs cyber intelligence programs. The UK and France monitor calls, emails, and communication. So the question is not, does China spy? The real question should be, what tools does China use to gather global data? And that brings us back to apps, smartphones, telecom infrastructure, and platforms used across Africa and other parts of the world. You need to get this. China built Africa's digital backbone. This is what you need to know. In case you did not know, more than 70% of Africa's 4G infrastructure were built by Chinese. 50% of its fiber backbone, Chinese. 40 plus national data centers, Chinese. Hundreds of government communication systems, Chinese. And dozens of smart city surveillance programs have been built by Huawei, ZTE, and Chinese contractors. This is not automatically a bad thing. Africa needed the infrastructures, and China provided affordable financing and technology. But it creates dependency because whoever builds your systems, hosts your data, or owns your digital backbone has the potential ability to access it. What I have just said does not mean to say they do, but it means they can access it. And that is enough for geopolitical concerns. You see, in these modern days, no country will come physically to spy on you. Apps have become the modern day spy tools and the spy personalities used by nations, big nations, to spy on smaller nations, to know whatever is going on in all these countries around the world. Now, apps today collect location, contacts, messages, browsing behavior, voice data, face recognition, movement tracking, device information, search history, purchase history, and even emotional preferences. This is the new oil, this is the new gold, and this is the new weapon. So the question becomes, if countries accuse Chinese hardware of spying, can they also accuse Chinese apps? And at this point, this is where the story becomes strange and more strange. TikTok is owned by the Chinese company ByteDance, but China does not allow TikTok inside China. Instead, Chinese use a separate app called Douyin. And for me and my viewers like you and the entire world, this raises three critical global questions. And the first question is, why does China not use the same TikTok as the world uses? Possible reasons. First, TikTok global version operates under international law China cannot fully control. Secondly, China does not want foreign government influencing Chinese citizens. Not that. Thirdly, China wants to control the algorithm inside its borders. And the fourth possible reason why China does not use the same TikTok the world uses is probably, maybe China wants to separate its domestic data ecosystem from the rest of the world. And is that not probably technological segregation? Now, the second critical global question is, why do Western nations fear TikTok? Do you know that the US, Canada, United Kingdom, and the European Union have restricted TikTok on government phones? Do you you know that they have investigated its data practices? Do you know that these countries have questioned TikTok's data transfer to China? And do you also know that these countries have considered TikTok being banned? These countries, the US, Canada, UK, and European Union, have also thought of banning TikTok from their borders. So even if TikTok denies wrongdoings, the governments of these Western countries know something that the other part of the world, Africa, probably might not know. These governments fear data harvesting, they fear behavioral manipulation, they fear algorithmic influence, and they fear political messaging and also youth psychological impact. Now, the final critical global question is, what does this separation mean for Africa? See, Africa uses the global TikTok. Chinese uses Douyin. China's version encourages education, science, STEM learning, clean content, Chinese cultural values. TikTok Global encourages trends, challenges, entertainment, memes, viral content, distractions. Then this creates a digital intelligence imbalance. And Africa needs our eyes opened and our brains cleared and ask this question. If China protects its citizens from contents and data model of TikTok, why does it give the rest of the world a different version? But you see, it's interesting. Just draw nearer. Let's be evidence-based and fair. Facts. There is no public evidence proving TikTok is used for mass surveillance. Also, TikTok denies all allegations. However, multiple investigations show it collects huge amounts of data. Like every major app does, China's 2017 National Intelligence Law requires all Chinese companies to cooperate with state intelligence when required. So even if the company is innocent today, the law still exists. So the real concern is not current behavior. The concern is potential access. And the African Union server story shows that if digital systems are not protected, data can move without people knowing. So you may be asking, what does this mean for Africa? Let me tell you, Africa is now in a new kind of colonial struggle. Data colonization. Our minerals were taken in the 1800s. Our labor was taken in the 1900s. Our data may be taken in the 2000s. Whoever owns Africa's data will control our elections, our markets, our communication, our security, our economies, our youth, and our future. Therefore, to get out of this bondage and break free, Africa must build our own firewalls. Africa must build our own data centers. Africa must audit foreign digital infrastructure. Africa must develop independent African apps. Africa must train cybersecurity experts. Africa must establish data sovereignty laws and also reduce digital dependency, because the digital battlefield is invincible and Africa cannot afford to lose another silent war. So to end this video, I want to say that whether the African Union building was bugged or not, whether TikTok is dangerous or not, whether China is spying or not, the real story is this: Africa must stop letting others build the system that controls our future. Africa must stop letting others build the system that control her future. If this video opened your eyes, if it made you think deeper, if you believe Africa deserves digital independence, come on, why are you still waiting? Don't hesitate to hit that like button, share this video, drop a comment, and subscribe to Inside Focus. Thank you so much. This was Inside Focus.